We are very, very excited to share this with the world. Some of you here on the call, maybe, or those watching later, have never meditated. Some of you may still be on the fence about this whole meditation thing. And is it hokey? Do I feel weird about this? Maybe some of you are coming having some background on meditation, but have never done Christian meditation. And so are wanting to know, like, is this going to constrain me if I do Christian meditation? How is that going to change my experience from meditation? And then some of you may be super fans and love Christian meditation and be on here tonight just asking, how can I access it more easily and how can I have access to more meditation? So we are going to answer all of those questions and thoughts tonight. Tonight you're going to see what meditation looks like, Christian meditation. We're so grateful again, Brooke, that you would come into a live experience. I know you don't do this very often. And so this is a very rare treat for us to have you on here doing this live. And not only is she doing a meditation, but she's also doing some teaching to go with it, which we know makes it so much more powerful. And then we're going to talk to you about the launch. Some of you may know we're launching this new meditation app, Small Seed Still. And so we're going to tell you how you can access that, easily integrate meditation into your daily practice and get it for just a few dollars. And so that will be at the end after Brooke's experience that she's going to go through. So Brooke really doesn't need an introduction. She, to us, is the pioneer in Christian meditation, I know for a lot of you as well, and teaches it in a way that makes it accessible, but also very personal. Brooke, thank you for being here, for teaching us, training us, and really giving us an experience tonight that can apply it to our holiday season. So it's a very practical teaching and training and not just kind of one that's out there, but it's one we need as we head into December, which today is the first day of. So couldn't be better timing.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so grateful for the experience to do a live experience. A lot of my content that I create is all recorded and I create it by myself in my little office and I don't get a lot of interaction. I'm a little bit of a hermit that way. So it's so fun to have an opportunity to get some feedback. But one of the things that we often get questions about is what makes Christian meditation different? Like a lot of people's first impression of meditation is just, that's where I sit on a cushion and I empty my mind and I think no thoughts, right? And that is definitely a style of meditation. And Christian meditation is really unique and awesome in that it takes some of the components that you may be familiar with in the Eastern style of meditation, like emptying the mind. But what Christian meditation does is it empties the mind of the things of the world. We are emptying our mind of distraction and worry. We're emptying the mind of doubt. We're emptying the mind of all of those things that take us away from faith. And what we're doing in Christian meditation is emptying our mind of those things and then using our mind to fill up on faith, to fill up on centering our thoughts and our intentions on Jesus Christ. And so that's a neat distinction right there. We're emptying our mind and then of the world and then filling up our mind on Christ. One of the things that is really powerful with Christian meditation as well is in just not just emptying the mind, but filling up the mind, is there opportunity to use our amazing imagination, our brilliant mind to be able to see and to be able to create. All things must be created spiritually before they are created physically. We want to be co-creators of our life with the Lord. And meditation is this amazing way that we can do that with Him. We can be able to practice seeing, developing our faith and our hope of what we hope for in our life with Him. And so using your imagination might be like a new thing for like meditating that way. But it's probably my favorite part of meditation, especially Christian meditation. And so we may need to like get in touch with our childlike self. Kids are so good. They're so good at visualization and imagining things. And it seems like sometimes when we get older, we just kind of lose that ability because we don't practice it or much. Or I don't know what it is, but sometimes as adults we can get that way. And that's one thing I'm actually really excited about the Small Seed Meditation app is that they have really prioritized creating meditations that are not just for individuals, but they are for children and families, and kids especially really, really light up and resonate with meditation that uses the imagination. In fact, one of my first introductions to seeing how well kids can imagine was back in college. I studied music composition. I composed music. And for my senior project, my senior year of college, I decided I wanted to write an opera. And I wrote an opera based on Jack and the Beanstalk. You're probably familiar with that children's story. And as part of my experience, I was really blessed to be able to have the university scholarship quartet perform my opera. And we got to go around to lots of schools in our community and we performed Jack and the Beanstalk opera. Now you have to understand, this opera was super low budget. Way low budget. We had no props. We had no scenery. We did have costumes. I guess we did have like one little prop. I remember we had the golden goose, which was probably a 1970s stuffed goose that my grandma had and she let me borrow. That was it. That was our props. And we'd go around to the schools and we'd perform this opera. And at the very end, after everything was done, we would talk to the kids about the opera. And I always asked them the same question. I'd say, what was your favorite part of the opera? Every single time, they immediately said the same thing. We probably performed this like in 10 different schools. Every time they had the same response. You know what their favorite part of this opera was? The beanstalk. Over and over, the beanstalk was our favorite part, the beanstalk. And the amazing thing to me about this is there was no beanstalk. There was no beanstalk. We didn't have a beanstalk at all. The beanstalk existed entirely in their imagination. We were just able to create the illusion and invite them to think in their mind about the beanstalk. We sang about it, and Jack kind of pantomimed that he was climbing it, but they could see it clearly and easily, and it was their very favorite part of the opera. It was real to them. So as you can see, visualization is something as children, we're naturally born with this ability to be able to see. And we want to get back in touch with that in our ability to meditate. We want to be able to see. We want to spiritually create the things that we are hoping for in our life. Now, if I'm to borrow a self-help term, I would borrow it from Stephen Covey, his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Remember, is it habit number 1? Begin with the end in mind, right? Like he's wanting us to be able to see what it is that we want. What is our goal that we want to be able to have? And if I'm going to speak in gospel terms, we're going to talk about creation. We want to be able to spiritually create the things that we hope for in our life before they're created physically. Now, if we were to do this in life with something, probably a really great example would be building a house. We have to spiritually create it first. And the way that we do that is we draw blueprints, right? Now, imagine that. And if I'm building a house, what do you think is going to be created what if I don't have blueprints at all? What if it's just an idea in my mind and I just kind of go out and try to create it? I want to think for a minute, like, how well is that going to turn out? Well, it probably depends on how good your craftsmanship skills are. Somebody might be able to make that work pretty well. My dad, he built my house. He could probably do a fairly decent job with no plans at all. But how does that compare to maybe if you had a quick sketch? That's a little bit more detail in spiritually creating something, right? And then what happens when we're able to get even more precise? What happens when you're able to work from blueprints that you have every single measurement? You know where every window goes and where every door goes. You even know which way they swing. You know where the stairs are, and you know the pitch of the roof, the exact angle that it goes. That to me is an amazing example of how we can get more and more clear, more and more precise in our spiritual creation. And I know for me, before I found meditation, and I often use meditation and prayer interchangeably, but one thing that has distinctively changed in my prayers has been using visuals and being able to bring pictures into my mind of what I am even speaking to the Lord about. I need to be able to see it. And I think for most of my life, I probably was like trying to build a house off just an idea. Maybe it was me praying, like, please help me have more patience. Well, what does that look like, right? What does Brooke with more patience actually look like? Can I get more specific than that? And can I actually see it? There's a really great scripture in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. It says, faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. I think sometimes we get tripped up when we talk about faith because we don't see it, right? And yet, faith is seen. It's just that it's seen here. It's just not seen yet in the physical world, right? And sometimes we get so stuck because we see only what is in the present physical world, right? We can see that we're in quarantine and things are happening in our nation and things are happening in my personal life, and we see what's right here now in the physical world. It's right there, very easy to believe. And yet, how do we have faith in something that we can't see? We may not see it here, but we can cultivate it here. We can use our imagination, we can co-create with the Lord, and we can get better with practice so that it moves into something that's not just an idea, and maybe it's not just a scribble on a paper, but it can become more and more detailed so that what I build physically through my actions, through my thoughts and my actions and feelings, all of that is on the blueprint of creating the experience that I want to be able to create. There's a quote by Wayne Dyer that I love, and you've probably heard it before, but he speaks about many people who say, I'll believe it when I see it. And he says, what if we could turn that around and we say, I'll see it when I believe it? I think sometimes we get those things turned around, right? I'll believe it when I see it, but what if I'll see it first and then I'll believe it, which leads to creating it. Now we're moving into a time of year, the holidays, a time that is a wonderful time of the year. It's the most wonderful time of the year. And yet it can also be a very challenging time of year. I know for me and my family, it's always been a challenging, in my home of origin and growing up with my parents, it was always a challenging time of year. My dad, when he was 16 years old, tragically lost his father in a car accident just a few weeks before Christmas. So December always seems to trigger just that grief. I think that was such an emotional experience for him that it's something that's repeated even, 50 years later. It's just something that comes back. And he would always retreat every Christmas Eve, like dad would disappear and my mom would cry because she's totally wrapping presents all by herself and feeling neglected. And every time my mom would say the same thing, she would say, he is an amazing husband 364 days of the year, but on Christmas Eve, I can never count on him to be here. And so that was a hard thing. That was a hard thing for her. And, I've got my own family now. And so anytime you marry or move away or anything like that, you've got your own challenges with the holiday season. Definitely becoming a mother has changed that experience for me as well. Feeling like I have to deliver this experience for people, having a lot of expectations. There's a lot of things that are scheduled, and maybe it's not that way this year. Maybe the schedule is actually a little lighter, but we may have imprinted emotions from the past that can still trigger, of stress. And maybe some of the changes that have happened this year with COVID and disappointments and different policies and mandates and things like that can definitely carry emotion. There's so many things happening in the world that definitely can influence our experience. And so my excited thing about tonight, and I promised that this is what we were going to be able to meditate on, is let's take this time of year where we are celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ, the most amazing event in the history of the world, that the Son of God was born into the world. the Prince of Peace. How we need peace at this time, right? I think this is an amazing time to celebrate his birth, his life, his presence in our own life. And yet we have challenges that block us from being able to fully experience that. And so, what we're going to do tonight, like I said, is a little bit of a looser meditation. If you have a journal close by and you want to journal some of these things, you can totally do that. And the meditation experience is going to be maybe with your eyes open and it's a little bit more reflective. If you just want to be able to sit and listen, or you want to have your eyes closed, you can totally do that as well. This meditation is what I call the WOOP meditation. WOOP is an acronym, WOOP, WOOP. And I discovered this. This comes from Gabrielle Oettingen. She's the author of the book, Rethinking Positive Thinking. And she has this process that she leads people through, which is called WOOP, WOOP. Now I'm going to tell you what the acronym stands for. W stands for wish. What is it that you wish for? What is this great hope that you have? O stands for outcome. What is the outcome that you hope for with this wish? How is this wish going to bring an outcome that you hope for? The next O is for obstacle. Because we live in real life where we have opposition in all things. What is the obstacle to your wish and outcome that you hope for? And then P stands for plan. We're going to figure out what the plan is for the obstacle. Now, I've just talked about spiritual creation, being able to increase our faith, and being able to see it and imagine it in our mind. And something that it's really wonderful to be able to think and to have hope and to have ideals and all of that. But what I love about Gabrielle's approach, this WOOP approach, is that we may have these perfect ideals. However, we also have a thing called reality. We have conflict, we have challenges, we have things that present itself that make it an obstacle to being able to have that ideal that we hope for. And so Gabrielle's approach here is we're going to create this wish and outcome we hope for within the context of the obstacle and the plan. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to get clear on what all four of those are for you in relation to your holiday experience. Now, you can actually use this whole framework in anything. If you have an obstacle to being able to be patient, or there's a certain challenge that's happening in your life, or a certain challenging relationship, you can use this same process for that. So although tonight we're going to talk about the holiday experience, you can use it for anything. And I hope you'll be able to take this little formula, this little process right here, and be able to co-create that with the Lord in meditation of how you're going to create what it is you hope for within the constraints of the obstacles and reality that you have right now. So here's our loose meditation, okay? If you're going to get a journal, then go ahead and get a journal. If you're going to do more traditional meditation, get in a comfortable position. And let's take a few deep breaths again, just to get present on this. We're going to take a deep inhale through your nose and exhale through the nose. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. Inhale through the nose, opening your heart, opening your mind, and exhale, letting go of fear, tension, stress, and concern. Take a deep inhale through your nose and exhale and let go of any stress in your body. Maybe relax your jaw a little bit. You can drop your shoulders a little bit. Just allow your body to be in a relaxed state. The more relaxed you are, the more you open up. And the more you open up, the more you open up to the Holy Ghost and promptings and being able to have ideas and to be able to see. And so much of the time where we carry around all of our stress, we're actually closing ourselves up to being able to receive revelation. So really even being able to take the time for a few deep breaths is taking the time to get in a physical state of being in which the spirit can speak to our spirit. So in this place right now of being more open and more relaxed, I invite you to think about the next 4 weeks of December. And in this holiday season, what is your most important wish? What is something that you would like to experience? Something that might be a challenge, but it's still attainable. It could be related to your relationships with family and friends, with yourself. It could be related to your emotions. Maybe it's project related. It can be anything. And maybe it's not even actually related to the holidays, but you know that this thing will be impacted by the holiday season. Whatever it is, what is something that you would like to experience in the next 4 weeks? Find a wish that is dear to your heart. It can be anything, but it needs to be dear to your heart. Do you have your wish? Now take a moment and summarize this wish in a few words. Maybe a sentence, maybe it's just a phrase. Summarize this wish and just put it in the front of your mind. Okay, now we can go on. What would be the best outcome if you fulfill this wish for yourself? How would this feel? Think of this one best outcome, this best feeling. What is that feeling for you? Find that feeling that this outcome would bring for you. And if you have that feeling, summarize the feeling or this outcome in a few words. Can you put that into a phrase or into a sentence and summarize that outcome? And now that you have that summarized outcome, I invite you to imagine the best outcome. Imagine the best outcome as vividly as you can. What does it look like? Can you see it? What does it feel like? Do you have a location that you can create a scene in your mind or an experience? What is it that you can see or experience in that outcome? And some of you, if you struggle with visualization, being able to write this down is a really great way to be able to see something. Taking the time to describe it in words could be a way that helps to create that picture for you in your mind. Or you can just take the time to think about it and imagine what that would look like for you and to really experience it. How does it look and how does it feel? So once you have that in your mind and your amazing imagination, I have a question for you. What is it in you that stands in the way of you tackling your wish so that you can experience this outcome? What is it in you that stands in the way? Sometimes we think the obstacles, other people, other things, all of those exterior obstacles. But this question is, what is it inside you that stands in the way? Could be an emotion, an irrational belief, a bad habit. Whatever it is, find the inner obstacle in you. And if you have more than one, think of the one that's most central. Dig a little bit deeper. What is it that really stands in the way? And let the excuses that stand in the way, they can just fall away. What is it that really stands in the way? Do you have your obstacle? And if you have your obstacle, summarize it in just a few words. Can you take that obstacle and put it into a phrase or a sentence? And then put that in the front of your mind. And now take a moment and imagine that obstacle occurring. Imagine that obstacle as vividly as you can. Imagine this central inner obstacle occurring. And if you have several, just select the biggest one. What is that central obstacle? And now the question is, what can you do to overcome that obstacle? What would be an effective action that you could take? This is a wonderful time to pay attention to promptings of the Spirit. Anything that just comes up, trust it. It might be a still small voice. What is an effective action that you could take, an effective thought you could say to yourself, something? What is it that you could say to yourself to overcome that obstacle, or an action, a thought or an action to overcome that obstacle? And if there's more, take the one that is most effective. You might have a list of things, but what is the one most effective one? Might surprise you. But pay attention to what just comes to the surface of your mind as being the most effective. And can you phrase that in a few words? This plan of overcoming your obstacle, this thought or action, can you phrase that in a few words, a phrase or a sentence? Now bring that to the front of your mind. Now this part is where we get really effective on creating a plan. Our plan has two parts to it. We call it an if-then plan. So we're going to say if, and you imagine this obstacle occurring. The second part is going to be then I will, and you imagine your action to overcome the obstacle. So let's try this plan. If, and imagine your obstacle occurring, then I will, and imagine your action to overcome the obstacle. Let's practice that again. If, and imagine your obstacle occurring, then I will, and imagine your action to overcome the obstacle. We have our wish. Imagine that wish. We have our outcome. Imagine that outcome. We have our obstacle. Imagine that obstacle. And our plan. Imagine the plan. Let's take a deep inhale through the nose. And exhale through the nose. Take a deep inhale through the nose. Inhaling gratitude. And exhale. Smile. You can open your eyes if they're closed. Okay. I hope you enjoyed that meditation. That's the WOOP meditation, wish, outcome, obstacle, plan. I hope it helps you to have an amazing holiday experience, even within the constraints of your own challenges and reality, knowing you have the ability to create the experience that you want to have. When we can go into that and we can make that blueprint in our mind of what we spiritually want to create as detailed as we possibly can, ask for the help and the support of the Lord. He will help you be able to create that. And you can use this for anything. So I hope that that opens the door to a new experience that you can have. So thank you for allowing me to be able to share that with you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
So much, Brooke. We are so grateful that you'd come on. When months ago, when we thought about this idea of creating this meditation app, we thought, the real dream situation here is if somehow we get to bring Brooke Snow to more of the world and to make it what she has and her gift and her light more accessible and easier for everyone else. And approached her honestly thinking it was a pipe dream, like there probably wasn't a shot. But if somehow what we could do could take this, what you just experienced, to more people, that was what we were hoping. And when we chatted and started down this path, and she said, what, let's give it a try, we just thought, this is what the world needs. And we're so grateful. So thank you, Brooke, for what you prepared for tonight and every day, and for the gift that you have given all of us over and over again with this life's work of yours. You are a gift.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure.
So we wanted to bring you on and talk about kind of what this project was and what it's turned into since that first conversation, and what that looks like for us now, because again, this matters so much to us. About a year ago at this time in my life, I had just moved. It's weird to even think a year ago because that feels like a different lifetime. That was like December of last year, before we knew what was coming. I had just moved from just outside New York City to Utah. I had 5 kids under 7, and life was crazy, but I felt like I was doing okay. I lost my temper. I struggled with patience, but I kind of thought like that's just what we have to go through, because that's what I saw most people going through. And my thought was, I am the founder of Small Seed, and we talk a lot about discipleship and a lot about scripture study. And the answer in my mind was, I just need to study more. I just need to add an additional time onto my scripture study. And eventually, maybe in a decade or 5 or 10, these parts of my personality will go away. But I'm already on the path and I'm doing all that I can do. But the thought of more study was very unrealistic as well. About that same time, my friend Kim, who helps run the Small Seed, sent me a buddy pass for Brooke's Christian Meditation course. And I'll be honest, I was kind of like, well, that's like, I don't know why I would need meditation. I pray, I study, I do all the things. And I don't know why meditation would be necessary. But of course, when someone buys something and gives it to you, you want to make sure that you at least accept that gift and give it the old college try. And so I got on and I logged on and I started doing the first few ones. And after the first couple of days, it was like my baseline emotional state went from here, which I thought was very normal. Like I wasn't thinking I was crazy, but it was like, you know, I'm a young mom. Like this is kind of just how we operate, right? This is life. And it just brought me down to here. And the visual that always comes, which is maybe you need to be a young mom to appreciate, was at the end of Frozen 1, when Anna, there's been like turmoil, chaos, and then Anna reaches up and her heart stops, and then it like, boom, everything stops. There's like a moment when there's this moment of stillness. And it was like, after a week or two of meditation, that was my baseline emotional state. And it really shocked me. Like I was really surprised that that was possible. But what was interesting is not only did I have this baseline emotional state, but I became a different person. I was awakened to every other time I hit here, which was my norm. And not only did I recognize it, like I started yelling at the kids, like, get out the door. And I was agitated there. It wasn't a comfortable place for me anymore. But I also started intuitively, just what you shared at the very beginning, Brooke, I started to know when I needed my own deep breaths. Just like your friend who meditates during pajama time, that's when I actually needed it most. And so I'd get in the car and my kids would get in, and this still happens today. And then I would bring myself back down to baseline, or the meditation would, I don't know how that works. I'd come back down, and then I could respond in the way that I wanted to my kids. And at Small Seed, we talk a lot about discipleship and what discipleship means. What does it mean to be a follower of Jesus Christ? And for me, it's, I want to be a good mom, and I want to be patient, and I want to think more about Jesus Christ. And I also want to be more like Jesus Christ. And the next step in that discipleship journey that I didn't realize was meditation, for all the reasons that Brooke has talked about, and also for the visualization. My prayers and thinking of him and approaching him and all the things I was doing completely changed. And so when this opportunity came to create this space at Small Seed for meditation and work with Brooke, it was kind of a no-brainer. I mean, besides the fact that it was a scary, huge undertaking, and we thought, can we really do this? But the thought of what this could be was a very big no-brainer for us on the team. And you guys have experienced that. Those of you who already knew Brooke coming on to this experience have experienced that already, or those of you who have been on tonight or watching this after the fact, we were just given that gift from Brooke to sit back, bring our baseline for the holidays down, which I don't know if there's another time we need it more than the holidays. So thank you, Brooke, for that gift. Already I know where my obstacles are, and now my plan, and that is so huge for me, for my family, for my kids, for my husband. Thank you on behalf of all of them to you for what you just did to create that. So from all of us also on this call, thank you for creating that. For those of you who want a more immersive experience, who are looking to have this more easily accessible in your life, listen carefully, because this is where we'll show you how you can have that and the levels and what this looks like on the Small Seed app. So I'm going to share my screen, and I have 3 slides just to give you a visual, but I'm going to share with you what this looks like on the app, which is so exciting. So Small Seed Still is the name of the app, and really the purpose, Brooke already talked about, Christian meditation is different. It's not just about emptying you and bringing you back to nothing. It's about filling you and bringing you back to Jesus Christ and reconnecting, which is so different. And so for us, a big, huge thing, again, we've taken Brooke's meditation course, and we're like, man, we just want more meditation. That's what we really want. We want more meditation. We thought, so actually what we did, and what I have done, is I went to Spotify and I went to YouTube, and I was like, how can I just find more meditation? It was really hard for me to find Christian meditation, but also I came across some really hokey stuff. And that was like super weird, that I would have never shown my kids or my husband. And so a huge priority for us on this app is that it's a safe place where you can come, where every meditation that's uploaded is safe for you, for your family, for your kids, even if it's not a meditation that's specifically written for kids, which we also have, and we're so excited about. But everything on here is safe. It's a place. And the second thing that I already kind of talked about is it's about Jesus Christ. When it's focused on Jesus Christ, the power and the light that come from him obviously is very different. And so those were our 2 huge goals. And then to try to also collaborate and bring in the best Christian meditators we could and bring them into one space. And so that's really where we're headed with this app. Right now, you have this foundation of all the meditations that we feel like are necessary, but then you'll just see that built upon too. So I'll show you some of that So the two ways to experience this app, there's first the free version, and then there's the paid version. The free version, you can see the home screen here on the left. Anybody can download. It will always be free, where there's a mini course of Christian Meditation 101, where Brooke has really shared the basis of Christian meditation, what it is, how to benefit from it. And similar to her WOOP meditation today, she teaches you the basics. So you really could take this and apply it to meditation in your own life. And that's really what part 2 is sharing with you how to take this practice of meditation and apply it. Also on the free version, which we're over the moon excited about, is this nativity guided imagery family meditation. And if you think Luke 2 is good, this is going to sound very sacrilegious. It is. Wait until you sit in a guided imagery meditation and put yourself in the shoes of, or put your son or daughter in the little small shoes of a shepherd boy or girl, and let them experience the nativity. It is so powerful. Like, if I talk about any of these meditations, Brooke, that you've created, I'm going to cry. And we've already had some people beta testing that have shared with us what's happening in the lives of their family and their children. That's remarkable. So free version, if you use the Google Play Store, you can already go access that right now. The Christian meditation part is locked, and that's where you'll find the meditation course 1 and 2, and then you'll find that nativity guided imagery family meditation. So that's free for everyone wherever you're coming at. The second way you can experience this more meditation in your life is the paid subscription. And so this gives you on the left the study meditations, topical meditations, daily meditations. Those are all unlocked when you access the paid subscription. So in here we have scripture mantras, there's more children's meditations, there's praise and worship meditations. That's actually, if I can pick a favorite so far besides the nativity, the praise and the worship meditations in there are phenomenal. More for this holiday, about gratitude, about what's happening right now at Christmas time, and then study meditations and other topical meditations. There's also new meditations that drop monthly. Again, these foundational meditations, we felt very strongly that needed to come from Brooke. We know how she approaches meditation. We know how she prepares when she records the music, the light and energy she brings to them. And so we wanted to make sure that that was the foundation when you came on. And then we're hand selecting other people to come and collaborate with us to create more meditation as well. And those are all will be accessed as well on the meditation. Also, there's a monthly newsletter, which will help you know what's new on the app. It's going to also bring on tips and background for those meditations, and then just some troubleshooting. And as we get feedback from you on, like, I struggle with this, or this has been hard for me, we'll address that in the newsletter to hopefully make this experience for you the best that it can be in meditation. We're also those of you who know Brooke and have taken her Christian meditation course, a huge cornerstone aspect of this app for us was the buddy pass. For me, I wouldn't have found meditation unless a trusted friend told me about it. Had Kim not sent it to me, I honestly never would have bought it. I really felt like, I mean, maybe unless another trusted friend told me too, but for me, I had to have someone that I trusted tell me that it worked. And so with every paid app subscription, you get to gift that subscription also to someone else. And as long as your subscription is active, theirs will remain active as well. And we'll have a way that you can change that out if you want to change your buddy as well, which is pretty amazing. Also, we feel like we're kind of at the tip of the iceberg here. We have felt great opposition in what we've done, and we know that this app is going to go to the world because it needs to, especially we've just seen what's happening, obviously, in 2020. We want to get this to every last human being on the planet that we can give it to, but you are the people that came first, and you are near and dear to our hearts, our family and our friends and the family of our friends. And we want to make sure that you can get on right now, soon, at a cost of half of what we're normally going to pay. And so for founders pricing is $7.99, and that includes the buddy pass. In a couple of weeks, that founders pricing will go away, and then the regular cost of the app from that point on is $14.99. Again, the buddy pass will stay true on there. Currently, it's already on the Google Play Store. You can see this is what the icon looks like. It's orange with our little small seed logo, and you can access that now, download the subscription or the free version, whatever you're coming in at. And then on the App Store, we will let you know the minute that that is there and ready and launching for you. So is there anything, Brooke, that I missed that you wanted to add on details on the app?
I don't think so. I'm excited myself. Like, just to have an easy access point and be able to share the gift of meditation with other people. And I love that you're doing a buddy pass as well. Like, I had the same experience. My introduction to meditation came because my sister invited me to be a buddy in a meditation course because I was having a lot of stress and anxiety in my life. And she's like, why don't you try this? And I wouldn't have done it otherwise. And so I know that may seem like a marketing thing in some regards, but really for me and for you, like you've experienced, like I wouldn't have tried it. And there is so much power in being able to do it with another person. And so I think it's an amazing opportunity to be able to gift that to another person that you know could really use that in their life, and to be able to check in on them. And now it's even more accessible that way, and to know that that's just it's a powerful way of changing people's lives, especially people who wouldn't have come to it in any other way. It's an amazing way to minister that way.
So Brooke, thank you. This is a dream to partner with you, and we are so excited to see all of you in whatever point you enter this app, and to have these experiences with you ongoing, and for being those really here at the ground level with us again. It just means everything, your support and your love and your faith joining with us. So thank you so much, and we will see you on the other side.